It's ideology versus practicality. Ideology always loses unless you start making it practical. There's a lot of people that give, but it's a half give. It's actually an ask disguised as a give. We have to make positivity louder, but positivity has to be grounded in practicality. The reason I think my voice can be unique at times is because positivity often becomes delusional.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 for my top 10, top 10, 9 This one's for my top 10.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you too. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something. So get ready to do what you love, change your perspective, and stop chasing numbers with Gary Vaynerchuk and my take on his top 10 rules of success to give you the confidence, motivation, and belief that you need. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Do what you love.
I can give you every single tactic that is underpriced, but if you don't have a foundational understanding of what you like to do and why, it's impossible for you to be successful, because we now live in a world where somebody will outwork you and take your piece. And there's abundance and there's plenty for everybody. But what has become very clear to me is nobody beats the person that loves what they're doing and is good at it, because they're just always doing it. What became obvious to me about entrepreneurship is I always did it, even when it wasn't cool or in the air like it is now. What's obvious to me today is there's so many people that want to be entrepreneurs because it is cool today, and it's actually not who they should be. The amount of people in this attendance today who want to be entrepreneurs or start companies who would be far more successful financially and happy being the number 4 in a company run by an actual entrepreneur is staggering. That's not something that anybody in here who's delusional wants to hear, but it is still absolutely the truth, because anytime a pendulum swings, it swings too far the other way.
Rule number 2, change your perspective.
People lack perspective.
That's it.
You know,
man.
one of the things that absolutely I've been sharing that has really been valuable is when I meet 57-year-old homies and I keep reminding them, like, you do know that you're gonna live for another 40 years. And like, why are you wrapping shit up? Oh, because your grandfather did. And that's what you saw.
Conditioning.
Correct. News alert, it's not 1973 anymore.
Yep.
Right? Like, I'm sitting here, I'm 43, and I'm like, man, yes, I know, and everybody loves, you could get hit by a bus. I'm like, cool, and then I won't care. But if not, like, if I'm going for another 55, if I'm going for another 65 with modern medicine, like, late second quarter.
You're just getting started.
I can handle 11.
Just getting started, baby.
Right, but it's real.
It is.
It's real, and like, I really want that. Like, people, you know how many people think they're f***ed up if they don't have shit figured out at 30? Like, really f***ed up.
It's too late. It's too late. I ruined it. I went left when I should have gone right, and here I am, and it's all.
I should have taken that job. My friend from Michigan State took that job, and he's got a nice house in the suburbs. I f***ed up. I thought I was gonna be a rock star. I'm like, dude, you haven't even started. You haven't even started.
Rule number 3, choose practicality over ideology.
One thing that I would love for all of you to do is start a little side hustle of trying to sell something on Shopify and Amazon, and then be the marketer of that. Like, buy like 50 t-shirts, put it on Shopify, but then go do ads on Instagram, Snap, you know, buy a pre-roll, you know, podcast ad from a small podcast and write the copy for the read. Be a practitioner. That's why I walk with such audacity and like confidence, is I know nobody here does. You know, like they'll get into a debate. I'm like, you're talking about an MMM, and you're talking about Ipsos. You're talking about subjectiveness. I'm talking about truth. So it's always a very exciting conversation to get into a debate with somebody from the industry, because they're living within the industry, not what we're supposed to be doing. It's ideology versus practicality. Ideology always loses unless you start making it practical. Everybody wants everybody else to change the world.
I want to change the world.
So then you can only do it by doing.
I don't know how.
That's what you have to
But
practice.
I know why. I have philosophy.
Everybody knows why. Everybody's got ideas. You have to do.
Rule number 4, stop chasing numbers.
The thing that I always believe is to get to the millions, it's a cliche game of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, that whole thing. But if you're not anchored in something that gives you enough at-bats that is practical to the way that you live your life, it's unachievable. And what I mean by that is putting yourself in a position where you're recording at all times and or starting a meaningful podcast, something that is the mothership, is an imperative part to this model. Otherwise, it's not achievable. I think the thing that really runs through my mind is what level of patience around the vanity metric of followers is running through your mind. I think, the thing that I see, and I speak to a lot of highly accomplished people with, you answered perfectly, which is the same for everybody, regardless of where they want to deploy that attention. There's a race to a vanity number that I think is hurting a lot of my contemporaries, people of your ilk in these genres that I almost wish that LinkedIn and Instagram and YouTube would eliminate the follow count, because I believe that people that actually have something to say would be more on their way of achieving it. But I think that human behavior with those kind of
Because what you're saying is the volume of followers gives you volume.
What I'm saying is that people are so influenced by the likes and followers that they become a caricature of that game, not the behavior needed to actually achieve what they're trying to achieve.
Also, if you want to have more motivation, self-love, and confidence, check out my 254 series. They're free. The links to join are in the description below.
My ability to only be comfortable in massive chaos has been my biggest asset as an entrepreneur. Like, I would never take a note. Like, that scares the piss out of me what these 3 people are doing right now. In a success world, please understand that success is happiness, not net dollars in. I really think mindset is everything. And so you've got to really decide, are you going to be positive about things or negative about things?
Rule number 5, reverse engineer the end consumer.
You have to figure out as a person, as a business, how you communicate to the world. There are 3 ways: written word, audio, and video. Too many people are trying to do video when they're not capable of it. Too many people are not realizing written word is remarkable, and they're getting caught up in pictures because Instagram's popping. So, the number 1 thing that would really matter to me as a data point is the following. I believe the more content that you put out, the more likely you'll be successful. I believe that you have to reverse engineer the end consumer, that you have to bring as much valuable content to them as possible. I think that you also need to eliminate friction between your message and the customer. What that means is you have to show up everywhere to the best of your ability in the way they want to consume it.
Rule number 6, eliminate figuring it out.
And parents, if you're listening right now, because you know that to be true, stop being a dick.
Yeah.
Because you know that you're 57 and you don't have anything figured out, the f*** are you pressuring your 19-year-old to figure it out? Can we just eliminate that? Like, honestly, maybe we can do it right here. You'll get a lot of listens to this if this is the true moment in society where we eliminate figuring it out. There is no figuring it out. There is no out. It doesn't end. The f*** are you talking about? What, getting a job in an accounting firm when you're 23, you figured it the f*** out? Getting married at 29, you figured it out? What the f*** are we talking about here? There is no figuring it out.
It's an endless, infinite loop of figuring.
And so if you're a 57-year-old and forcing your 22-year-old to figure it out because you want to look good to your friends that your child figured it out, not you want your kid to
The secret. The ego gets activated again because you can shut on those other parents whose
You
kid.
should know better. You love your
Yeah.
child, you should tell them to never figure it the out. Just live.
Rule number 7, lean into your truth.
Everybody's gonna have different situations and different serendipities, so it's not just my parents. Like, I got self-esteem injected in my parent from my mom, which is a huge variable, which is why I put her on the huge pedestal. And to your point, not everybody gets that. Somebody may get that later from their spouse. I would argue if my dad was here, he would tell you that any progression in his self-confidence came when I came into his life and started making him feel like he did something, because he grew up under a mom who didn't give him confidence. So at the same token, to your point, when I'm saying f your parents, I'm saying it's more of a way to break through to kids to say, look, you need to lean into your truth. You need to, you need to have empathy for why your parents are giving you the advice. But the reality is, this is going to be your life, and you're going to have to deal with the ramifications. So, by the way, even though my mom or somebody else who's lucky enough to have a mom instill enormous amounts of self-esteem into them, doesn't mean that same mom may not have an ideological point of view on you being a doctor. Yep. So it's not one or the other. They're kind of like carved out separate things. And back to the point of all of this, I mean, I think one of the biggest things that I'm really excited about clarifying in the next half decade is, look, I don't think I'm right about anything. I think that I'm right for me. I read a lot of feedback, and these are observations from one man's point of view, and then you need to take it and understand what to do with it.
Rule number 8, give without expectations.
One of the reasons the biggest book I ever wrote was called Jab, 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 Right Hook was it helped so many people understand a different framework, which is you have to give, you have to give, you have to give, and then you can ask for something. The problem is when people ask, they expect. The disproportionate reason that I see businesses be successful, and definitely personalities be successful, are the ones that give without expectation, because the content when they give is not loaded with intent to be selfish. There's a lot of people that give, but it's a half give. It's actually an ask disguised as a give.
Rule number 9, make positivity louder.
If you're in a good place, we have to start sharing more of it. Everybody's spitting hate, and everyone's accepting that. Then you have people that are spitting positivity, and people are shitting on those people. Like, I get shit on, like, I'm watching this is amazing. We have to make positivity louder, but positivity has to be grounded in practicality. The reason I think my voice can be unique at times is because positivity often becomes delusional.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is have fun.
In one of these packs, for example, I could pull right now.
5,000 packs.
I know it's one of 5,000 packs, the dual autos, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to pull a card of my, I want it to be documented the first time I ever pull a card of me in it. This is super insane. Oh, I got one! Let's go. Yeah, let's go! I got it! I fucking got it! Let's go! That was amazing! There it is, Jose Ramirez, Gary V's top. I cannot believe I just pulled it. That was so awesome. How insane is this? I am literally on a baseball card. Are you kidding me? This is insane. That was so cool. That was so cool. That was awesome. I'm so glad we caught. My face has to be ridiculous for that.
Now I have a special bonus clip from Gary on how to know what you're good at that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Let's go from just watching a video to taking action. Here we go. Question number 1. How can you make positivity louder today? Number 2, where can you give without expectations this week? And number 3, what's the number that you need to stop chasing? And if you made it this far in the video, I wanna celebrate you. Give me a hashtag believe down in the comments as well.
I would go with self-awareness. I think that we need to put that word on a much bigger cultural pedestal, really getting to a place where you understand yourself. And I would say self-awareness needs to be kind of like oxygen. It's a 24/7 thing. When you're 22 and you're wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, there's something that you really want. And then at 26, you fall in love and you want a different, like, you've got to really check that at all times. Like, what are you up to? Is it about currency? Is it about legacy? Is it about fulfillment, work-life balance? Like, I'm sure everybody here has gone through maybe one cycle of going all in, but then looking for more balance and then going back all in. And so I think you've got to know what you're good at. I mean, the reality is, I watch so many people try to fix their shortcomings, and where I just wish that they would triple down on their super strengths, where I think would just be far better for them. Evan, thank you so much for having a couple seconds and being able to tell the Believe Nation a little bit about Empathy Wines. It means a lot to me that you would take this valuable real estate and time on your channel to give me some love. It means a lot. It's just good karma points, and so you're awesome. Thank you. Believe Nation, if you're into wine at all, go to empathywines.com. My whole career's work was poured into producing a wine that rivaled $40 to $60 wine for $20 a bottle. I'm just super excited about this subscription-based wine business. You can order 3, 6, or 12 bottles in subscription form, rosé, white, red. If you search on Instagram or Twitter, you will be blown away. People are literally like, I don't even like Gary Vee, but the wine's good. Super proud of the effort. Thanks, Evan, for the time. Wishing you guys all happy and healthy.
If you want to learn how to use TikTok to your advantage, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.